it might disconnect and then reconnect when I do the description like that. Editing it. And if it's science. I noticed yesterday when I was doing the test run, there was one that I ended and restarted. That was another streaming post on that. So I had to go back into our Facebook and like be streaming. There was just like these random like video clips of me like check. I'm like, oh my god, there's like no way to do a practice run when you're running like OBS software. So I was like, okay, let me get the back page because that really.
Hey, when I go on my boxing segment, you can go ahead and get in the comments. Huh? Go ahead and get in the comments. What? What's that? I love boxing. They probably think Jake Paul's a good boxer too. You love Jake Paul.
Ask him who has Jake Paul fought in their prime? Where his opponent was in their prime.
I can't name once.
You can't name one. Because he hasn't.
Oh, for sure.
He hasn't fought anybody in their prime.
Who fought the other guy? I don't remember their next time.
Not Pacquiao. Pacquiao came out of retirement in 7 years. It's barely lost. He is an exhibition loss. That's what he is. Exhibition loss is right. I mean,
Turn it on and you would start like I lost. Oh, since you don't smell that right.
it's probably the old cover mic.
Jerry.
Yeah. 10 years since I was a kid.
Reading other one. It's you.
Oh, trust me, that's why I don't fix my house. Yeah. 30 years? I don't know what, but I'm down to Des Moines. We moved out of Des Moines in 87. I mean, it was back before Indian stuff. Oh, yeah. Well, right. It was in the 80s. I used to come here. Let's see, 92. My parents got divorced. Dennis was living in the apartments right behind the car dealership. We would walk up here to play in the arcade, or we would stop at the white building right next to Brown Bear where there was a Pokemon guy that had a Pokemon card shop.
Sports Talk206. I know y'all missed that. Yeah, brief intermission. Here at the Waterland Arcade here in Des Moines. You can come on down. We're here every Saturday starting at 12:30. So we would love to have you come in for Q&A. We also got some barbecue. L&S Soul Food and Barbecues outside. We got bib tips. We got shrimp and grits. We got loaded fries, pulled pork sandwiches. Probably missing some items, but come on down and check it out. All right, so come on down. I think that's good, sir. Well, while we're here, I know you guys had a brief discussion. Talk about the Waterland Arcade. Because I know you started coming here as a kid.
So, Waterland Arcade is nostalgic for people like me. We grew up playing in the arcade, going, spending your Saturday, spend your weekly allowance playing video games all day. Here at the Waterland Arcade, you can pretty much do that. What, $15 for unlimited play?
Yeah.
Right.
Is that right? $15 for the threesome? $15.
$15 for unlimited play.
All day, every day. Hours are 11:30?
12 to 11.
12 to 11.
12 people.
12 to 11. Unlimited arcades. You don't have arcades here that you normally have. All kind of, for the beer, we got some beer too, right? Or can you read those? I can't show you out.
We got we got Guinness, we got Georgetown Brewery.
Okay.
Got the 17s in there, Pale Ales. Oh, yeah, chili, that's great one right down here in Auburn. Alright. I know so.
There's a lot going on. As a matter of fact, what's Monday night? We got karaoke night over Tuesday.
Tuesday night is karaoke.
Karaoke. Okay.
The 13th happy hour, DJ nights.
13th happy hour DJ night.
There you go, Friday the 13th. We're gonna have some crazy stuff in the arcade. Trying to play Super Mario Brothers.
Absolutely. But like I said, skill place to bring your family, your kids, and have unlimited access. You can play them nonstop. You got to put quarters in the machine like we used to back in the day. So, man, I wish I had a place where I could play video games nonstop. You do? So remember. That's why I'm playing. Well, at the arcade. You went to the arcade. I keep it the same. Remember. Yeah, we're that old.
Place where you can break your friends.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you're planning on reading your list. Making sure I can answer all the questions in real time, setting up here. All right, so all the games we got this week, going over the NFL games. Of course, remember the Ravens and Chiefs. Chiefs won that 27-20. The Packers, lost to the Eagles.
I thought I had a
34-6. Okay, does that mean the Eagles are back?
No,
We got the Broncos and Seahawks. Matter of fact, it would be a good time for us to pick our winner. Broncos and Seahawks, I got Seattle. I think they win convincingly. I want to say Seattle will win by 14 points. I think that's pretty big. How about you?
I'm going to go with Seattle, but I think it's still going to be by a touchdown.
So by touchdown? Okay. Let me see. We got the Cardinals and Bills. I'm taking the Bills all day.
You haven't won anything all over that.
King Carmona?
You're just shooting the Cardinals.
Good.
5-5 goal.
Okay. They're playing at Buffalo. I don't know. Is it cold up there in Buffalo right now?
I think it's always cold in Buffalo.
So it's going to Buffalo. All right.
And remember, Brazil. Boy, I love losing to the Wolves.
Now, since we're talking about the Cardinals and Bills real quick, the quarterback for the Bills, and I don't know why his name is not ringing in my head. Josh Allen. There we go. Josh Allen. I think once the guy said that Josh Allen went to go see Josh Allen at his pro day. But anyway, not even here nor there. When is he going to show up? I mean, he's supposed to be the next best thing at quarterback.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be in the same realm as the Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson But it just seems like when it's time to turn that corner in the postseason.
He got the same problem that G had for years.
What's that?
He had the drive to get there, not the drive to finish.
Yeah.
Look at all of our 80s and 90s playoffs. We had the drive to get to the playoffs, but a lot.
Yeah.
But it never had the drive to finish it off.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where Buffalo's at. Josh Allen had the drive. He is a great quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't think Buffalo's the right system for him,
Yeah.
but he is definitely making the best of the work he's got.
Gosh. And we got the Patriots and Bengals. I'm taking the Bengals. I don't think I can name 5 Patriots now.
I can't name my Patriots.
They all
Patriots always seem to win.
We got the Vikings and Giants.
Like,
The Vikings, I can live with that. Titans and Bears. There's so much going on with the Bears and the Titans.
I think that's going to be the game of the week.
Why, going to be 6-3?
No. I don't think it's going to be a low scoring game.
Yeah.
Equal. All percentage. Fair.
Right.
Yes, short.
That's right. Back in come out there. Yeah. They're doing their thing. We got the Panthers and Saints. Panthers and Saints.
I don't know much about how the game on the saying that.
I'm going Saints. That's the division game. That's always a toss-up. Steelers and Falcons. Oh, your favorite quarterback's on deck, Russell Wilson. Going against Kirk Cousins.
Go Falcons.
Go Falcons.
I hate to say it. Well, actually, no, I don't. Steelers are going to lose the season.
Think so?
Yeah. I do. I think you're going to go probably like 8-9.
That's funny. Every time that conversation comes up, the Steelers are going to do this or do that, they tend to rally around Mike Tomlin. With Mike Tomlin, they're always going to be tough. They're always going to get after him. I think bringing Russell Wilson is they just want stability at quarterback. Because I don't think they're getting greatness at a quarterback.
Right. That's exactly what they did. They went and got the quarterback that can produce.
Yeah.
Only problem with
Just run the ship.
they have nobody to keep him in the pocket. And once he gets out of the pocket, he sucks.
Oh.
You have to have an O-line that will keep a pocket available for him.
Yeah.
And you don't have that.
Jaguars and Dolphins. Jaguars and Dolphins. Miami.
Only because it's
Miami. Tua, Tyreek, all the weapons they got going on down there.
yeah, but Tyreek Hill would be anybody if you didn't have two to fill the ball.
That's true. Oh yeah, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goes from one good quarterback to another.
Yeah.
I think this is a good year. I think he's going to have a breakout season this year. I think the Dolphins will surprise a lot of people.
Right. So we have here, you guys. Texans and Colts.
Texans.
Texans. Yeah. Raiders and Chargers. Go Chargers. Jim Harbaugh.
Every Harbaugh there is.
He's known to have, I had to Google it, he said he has a Porky Anderson.
I'm going to look at him.
Teddy Porky.
He's working in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Chargers have him. They're going to be a decent team.
What's interesting, and this is a little bit off the grid a little bit. Jim Harbaugh, the way he is now, he comes off to his his little beef with Pete Carroll and other coaches and ruffling feathers of other in the organization. I didn't get that from him as a player. He's, of course, you're not in the locker room, but just as far as that, you don't see that very often.
He's been beloved.
Oh, hey, what's going on? Andre Freeman just came into one of our audience. He didn't like you calling him out on what you disagree with.
Hey, that's what happened.
And he pulled out. Hey, you keep it going now. He went. Okay. Awesome. Well, so then we got Cowboys and Browns. Stephen A. Smith said the Cowboys are an accident waiting to happen. They will self-destruct somehow, somewhere.
As per usual.
But Hey, I'll tell you what. Take the Browns. I'm telling you, I'm taking the Browns. Take the Browns. It's in Cleveland.
I'm taking the Browns.
It's in Cleveland. It's week one. And the Cowboys, the problem with the Cowboys, when you win the Super Bowl and you become that target, like everyone is looking to knock you off because you won the Super Bowl. The Cowboys are like that because they're like the Cowboys. They're always being talked about. Even when they're losing, they're being talked about.
That's why
They're being talked about.
They're the team that always has the skilled player that just can't seem to work as a team.
Why do you think that is? The owner. The owner.
It's both.
It's
kind of like the Mariners.
I've never played pro football, but I can imagine being on a football team and there being distractions. People say, oh, they're professional athletes. No, we're human nature. But when you have an environment that's a circle, an environment that's chaotic, undermining, all the different things that go on with the Cowboys, it makes culture's a lot. And I didn't realize that. Well, I've always realized it, but more so under Pete Carroll and the Seahawks. And I've seen culture. Even if you look at the Ravens, there's a culture there. New England, there was a culture there. Culture means everything. And I don't think that the Cowboys have ever been able to have a culture since the 90s. You know what I mean? And I think they didn't agree with that.
Their fan base has a culture.
Being a fan base, they got a crazy culture.
They do, but their fans are loyal to a team.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those things that the players and the management, coaching staff, the ownership, they need to realize that your fan base wants you to succeed.
Right.
You need to do what you need to do to succeed.
Right.
Look what happened in Oakland.
Yeah.
Okay, you lose the race.
Yeah.
Fan base wins. Now you're losing the Athletics. What's wrong with that city? It ain't the city. The city loves their team. They're up in arms. Like, the season ticket holder for the Athletics boycotted the season because you're selling the team. Because you don't want to prepare the stadium. Like, there's an issue. The same thing is going on in Dallas right now. And they've got all these great talent positions, but they can't figure out how to make them one to get there. And that falls down on ownership, yes, but it also falls down on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
If you're a coach, you have to find a way to make your team work as a team, not a bunch of individuals.
Right.
Until that happens, Dallas will be great, I guess.
So when you look at now, Cowboys, I remember Dak Prescott as a rookie. And he came in and he outplayed Joe Roman, right? And he seemed to have all the intangibles, throw the ball downfield, throw the ball across the middle sideline. So what has changed? What has changed where Dak has looked average at this? You know what I mean?
Same thing that happened to Russell. He got in your hand.
What's that? Running game.
Yeah.
Amen. Running backs. That's it. Amen.
Yeah. Well, look at just about every team right now. What is the focus throughout 75% of the NFL? Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball.
Yeah.
When you've got a quarterback that's great at throwing the ball, and now all of a sudden he's not throwing, you kind of start losing points.
There's a difference, I guess. There's a difference being able to throw the ball when your defense is not sure if you're running or passing. Or it's easy to throw the ball when you have a running game. It's different. It's like I went to go see the Heward baby brother, Sam, playing for Kennedy. He threw the ball better than any quarterback that I've seen with my naked eye. I mean, he threw the ball in windows that weren't even open. And I said, oh my God, this is the next, oh my goodness, he's the next Troy Aikman or Dan Marino. Because I've seen it with my own eyes. Like, he put that ball in the window.
Actually, never been a ring.
And great athletes don't do that in high school. So I said, it's going to be easy transition to college. But then it doesn't work out too well. Poor man, does.
Well, that's because everybody's focusing on the right hand. So you get a quarterback that can do the occasional long top,
Yeah.
but a quarterback that runs and turns the ball off a little more is what everybody's looking at.
Right.
In the 90s, it was all about throwing the ball.
Right.
Getting that deep pass, having those fast receivers.
Yeah.
And then it slowly transitioned into a running game, and now we're in an era of running the football.
But there's one thing that I did notice when Sam was playing, he had a clean pocket. A clean pocket. I'm kind of asking my own question. It's totally different when you got bullets. And plus he's smallish. And one thing that the Seahawks trying to do is try to make sure there was no pressure up the middle. Shorter quarterback, you get that right up the gut. Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, you got to give those.
Can't step up. Can't see what's going on.
You got to be able to clear a lane so that they can see.
Exactly. And that might have been a problem he had.
Unless you got a 6'5" receiver, you can see him over everything.
It's like a jump shooter. Take a professional basketball player, take him to a gym, he'll never miss. But then in the game, you're like, man, he's great. It's just one of those things. So I might be able to complete some passes with a clean pocket. See, the next game right here is the Commanders and Buccaneers.
I don't know anything about either one of them.
Commanders or Buccaneers?
I'm going to say Washington wins.
Yeah. I'll take a Washington as well. We got the Rams and Lions. I'll take the Lions. Now, you talk about culture, that's like the next culture. That coach came in and changed everything.
Rams, even though it's a real division rival, they're going. Very close.
Gotta take out. I'm taking the Lions. Come on, Cliff. Is it just pick a team? I got it.
There we go.
If you put your money on the Commanders and Buccaneers, you take it. Take it down. Okay, there we go. See, you talking about putting your money on, I'm going to make it. Established culture. Established culture. All right. So one thing we talked about earlier, we talked about the NIL and the transfer portal. And one thing that's really coming to me now, one thing why I don't like it is culture. Change the culture. No, one thing that one thing
I'll create ego.
Yeah. But you know this about this. I'm not sure who said it, but it was a college coach or it's an AD or something like this. A lot of kids get into a football team, and if you can make them feel like family, they don't leave. You get kids in there that feel like family, yeah, and don't leave. So they're now adapting to try to make ways to make it family. They eat more together. They do more stuff. And that's one of the reasons why Deion Sanders, when you talk about the Buffaloes, Deion Sanders, Warren Sapp, Brian Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp has a defensive line, and he treats them like family. You know what I'm saying? He calls them his babies. You know what I mean? But you can tell during his interview, his press conference, the energy, the enthusiasm. And I think that's one thing that Deion Sanders is bringing in coaches who are like that. So kids will want to stay, wouldn't want to leave. You know what I'm saying? So, matter of fact, we can talk about them. We haven't done a podcast in a while. There's the Colorado Buffaloes. When we talk about not liking the transfer portal, there's nobody who's been more busy than Deion Sanders in Colorado with transfer portal. I mean, if there is some type of book on how to use the transfer portal, they need to write it. And that's one of the reasons why Nick Saban is gone.
Well, look at Deion's history.
Nick Saban said, "I'm not selling my football program to nobody." Go ahead.
Deion had always been an Irish.
Absolutely.
He was a great talent. He knows what talent looks like.
Yeah.
He is the guy that will take an up and coming guy who has mediocre talent. He'll bring him into a system, and all of a sudden this guy has a great talent. And the reason is because he coaches them to advance their current skills, not teach them skills that they don't have.
Right.
And that's what Deion is great at. He will literally take a no-name person who has a great arm and has tremendous accuracy and put him into a system, show him what it's like by developing the rest of the team along with him, not just develop this guy. You develop the skills you have, not the one you don't.
Right.
He'll add some skills to you, but his focus is developing your skills you have and making the best of them.
Right.
That's how you become a great quarterback or a great wide receiver or a great running back. Is you develop the skills you are good at. That's how you become great in anything in life. You take what you're good at and you develop.
Yeah.
You don't say, "Oh, I'm good at this, but I need to learn this." That's not how you become good at anything. That's how you become jack of all trades. Master of none.
Right.
Whereas you develop those skills you have, that's how you become a great player. Great person in life, a great salesman, or a great IT guy.
Yeah.
You develop the skills that you have that are good. You make them great.
Yeah, that's one of the advantages he has. Is not necessarily the influence of the kids, but the influence of the parents. If Deion Sanders walks into your living room, the parents are like, yes, you know what I mean? Like, if he walks into my living room, I don't think they're screaming. I'm talking about like, yes, going to Colorado play for Deion Sanders, prime time. You're going to do that. No other college coach has that type of cachet. And
How many parents forces a kid to go to the ball out? That's walking in the living room.
No, but the influence.
I'm looking at Michigan State, Mom.
Yeah. I mean, all depends on the kid, but there's a lot of kids that do have a loyalty when it comes to their parents, even going to the same school. Now, some don't, but Deion Sanders is going to appeal to that parent that does have that influence.
He is, yes, but he's also there not to just get the parents. He wants the child to want to be there.
Yeah.
He doesn't want you to come play for him because your parents. He wants you to come play for him because you know that he's capable of taking you to the next level.
Yeah, he is.
And if you don't want him to be there, he will walk out.
Yeah.
He will leave you behind. He does not care.
Yeah.
When I love about him,
I don't care. So since we're on the topic, Schrader, a lot of them don't believe that he'll be top quarterback taker. That can change. What are your thoughts on Schrader?
I have him.
Yeah, don't even know who you're talking about. Shador. I said Schrader. Shador, my bad. So Shador, Deion Sanders' son, quarterback. He looks like he can sling it. He's smallish, not prototype size, and he's not. And what's good about being a small quarterback? Sometimes it seems like when you're not like big body, you get injured more quick. Just what are your thoughts?
I'm going to have to say it's all going to really come down to who gets them well. I think we can get me up first time. He'll totally be top five. Whether he goes 1-9 is going to depend on who it is they get.
Deion Sanders actually came out and said he doesn't want his son playing in the cold weather. So he put that out there. So that goes out to England. I'm probably thinking who's in the bottom half of the NFL.
Yeah.
Buccaneers.
Guaranteed he's going to end up going top five.
Yeah.
He's going to end up playing somewhere cold.
Now, for a more difficult question.
I hate to say it, but I don't think he'll go number one because he doesn't want to win. I would not want to be the number one.
That's the reason why he said it now. He was to be the number one.
Yeah.
He wants to put that on his jacket, so to speak.
He can't. He wants to put it there.
Yeah. You think somebody's on
Yeah, exactly. He ain't going to. He'll be top five. I'm betting he probably goes 3-4 somewhere in there.
Okay.
That shadow. That shadow that Daddy cast.
Exactly. That shadow of Daddy Cash.
It's like Eli said, kid, go to San Diego, right?
Yeah.
So with that being the case, the fact that Archie man has such a big shadow and has such a big voice,
Yeah.
if Deion says his son's not going somewhere cold,
We're cold.
and so with that being the case, his father has the influence
Yeah.
that casts a shadow over the whole process. Top 10, but not 5.
I remember that. I remember the whole press conference.
That's why he's ended up in San Diego.
I remember it. I want to visit a one more topic on Buffalo. I want to go there real quick. That seems to be the transform portal mentality now. When we go back to that incident where it didn't want Eli to go to San Diego for whatever reason, well, I think the way they ran the organizational dysfunction, he wanted his kid to be in almost like a program, professionalism, and he knew a little bit more ins and outs of the Chargers, and we could probably see the product on the field and say, okay, maybe there was something to that. But with that being said, that seems to be now the thing now. We want to control where we go, what we do, who's going to pick us. When did that become too much? Because once you open the door or kick the door open, when did it become too much where we lose the essence of sports?
I think it's already come to that.
Yeah.
Because just because I don't like playing the cold weather, or just because I don't like the way this guy coaches, he yells too much, or just because this guy coaches his player, that guy coaches that way, is not a valid reason to move. You chose that school knowing what that school was. You have to stick with it like choices. You have to work.
Because my thought is, what if every first round pick, let's say every potential first round pick, voice their same not desire to play for this team or that? And what if we had that? Then the whole draft would just be a big trauma fest.
Yeah,
From the fans' point of view, we think about who really pays the bills. Like, who really pays the bills? Because if the fans don't watch it, they're not getting revenue. Am I wrong?
Or 2 things come in.
Well, listen.
That's the conversation. NIL says, I don't have to make because I make too much money. I don't need your money.
Yeah.
There's some kids who don't get those money back then and then rock the boat. And if I didn't like where I was at, I just go ahead and transfer because there's no limitations on your transfer. Right? There's no transfer. We all have an opportunity in our own work life.
Let me get my wife, make sure.
Oh, yeah, you can it in now.
Yeah, go ahead and be sure you can hear.
We all have opportunities and choices in our life to leave a job if we don't like it. Right? Even though they pay us more money than God allowed, leave that job. Right? These guys in the NFL, they got 5 years. The first rounders get 5 years. If the team don't pick up their 5th year option, they can let it go. Right? When the player gets to the end of the 5th year option, he can walk away. Right? They have choices. So just like kids in college, they have choices. And the reason why everything is off is there's no structuring or restrictions in the transfer portal. You get to jump up halfway through and say, you know what? I'm just going to transfer somewhere else. It's okay that you don't like where you're at. It's fine. And sometimes we just don't get along. And my coach that I committed to, and you know how this goes, that coach that was there, who went through the whole process, he was recruiting.
leaves right after you're recruiting. It's all done, and all the letters of intent are all signed. We got to cut him loose now. And now we got a new coach coming in. Either you bring a new coach in before the recruiting process, or you let the old one go after. That's kind of how that thing works. And then when we do it that way, the kids sit here trying to figure out what it is they need to do with themselves. And now we have a problem. So how do we fix that? See, when I said I disagree, I was saying I disagree with the fact that I agree with Will on disliking the transfer law. I dislike it because there's no restrictions. Right. And then what I disagreed with you about was the jerseys, number 5, USC, sales because Reggie Bush was in it. That's the reason why I feel it. If you USC number 32, sales because OJ was in it. Right? And so when we sit down and we look at that situation and we go through it, I'm an Indiana kid, right? I grew up in Indiana. I was raised and I was born in Indiana. And one of the things that I remember the most was this guy named Bobby Knight. Bobby Knight was the program. We didn't care about number 11. And Bobby Knight was the program. So there were certain coaches that had that cachet. Like Saban has that cachet, right? Tell me a number on Alabama that you wouldn't wear during the Nick Saban era. It didn't matter. It was Saban. It was Alabama. But if I go get UW number 8, you know I got it for Napoleon Coffee. That's just the gift. I mean, it just is what it is. I have a little bit of I hear y'all talking about loving Cougars. I don't know why. But the reality of it is, if we don't pay those kids that they're talking about that name, image, and likeness, not everybody's situation is the same. So, like when we're talking about Shedeur Sanders, right, and he's saying, "Oh, I'm not going there." He's got the name, the money, and the cachet to make that decision. When it was Eli, they had the money, the name, and the cachet to make that decision. These other kids, the reason why the folks not shook in the NFL, a lot of these kids ain't got nothing coming out of college. They didn't have nothing. And now when they don't even have a degree, and that's an issue too. And so what there needs to be is that we should have a 2-year restriction or say, hey, you got to commit 2 years after you transfer from this program to that one, as opposed to being able to say, hey, every year you're a free agent. There's something wrong with that process.
Right. I totally agree with that. Definitely, you definitely put the transfer portal to not be able to transfer just because you don't.
Every year.
And I think to add to that as part of the transfer portal, there should be a recruitment process in itself. You know, yeah, I want to transfer. Okay, well, you got one coach that says okay for you. You still need to go through a recruitment with 10 teams. You know, you should go take a look at how they set up, how they practice, how they coach, what their ideals are, things like that. Not just, oh, yeah, you take me, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And if you've got 10, 11, 12 coaches looking at you in that transfer portal, what are you doing? You're going to compare every single one.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be a recruitment process along with the transfer.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like what Bogan was talking about was what they're trying to do is build continuity as far as family in those organizations and those programs.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that, then realistically, what are you doing? How do you build family and continuity after a player just jumps after being there 3 months? I mean, honestly, they came in. I'm watching cats that have transferred right after the football season is over. We're going somewhere else. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
I don't like what I did this season.
Yeah. I mean, what that,
participation trophy.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like I said. We've seen the culture change or shift in college athletics. I used to argue back in the first half. I said this is going to ruin sports. That was just my thought process at the time. I just know it's almost like the mind of athletes. You've been in one. I said, oh my goodness. Then he said, man, what if that was my era, how would we have done with the transfer portal? Just be able to just push the button. I'm sure I'm going somewhere else. But yeah, so it's a way to see. The only thing we can think of is possibly that the culture will become the kids become more mature. Maybe.
I don't think so.
Because now you have, because sometimes first round draft pick was from rags to riches, right? And then you see people not being able to act right, giving a whole bunch of money. So now you're going to see kids who experience money and then, experience more money. Because I think now,
You're still going to have the back to riches thing. You're going to get that kid that came from nothing. He's going to get this huge NIL deal.
yeah,
And he's going to do the same thing that first rounder did when he came into all his money.
yeah.
He's just going to be sure he's not going to be this.
But they do have. I know the NFL has programs to help rookies with their money, teach them a lot of dynamics of being out there with money, and they have classes that they have to go through, right? And I think that's available now for college. I'm not sure. I got to check on that, but I'm quite sure they do.
Yeah, it's all financial study.
To be able to. No, I'm not talking about I'm talking about the character that comes with having a lot of money, the do's and don'ts, right? I think they probably have a class to teach them how to say no. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the part of
Mentorship.
the recruiting process.
Yeah.
Who you send your kid to go play with matters. That's why Deion walks into the room. You say, "Oh, well, Deion, I don't really remember him with too much trouble, other than the fact that his personality could be a little heavy for the
He can help with that.
Yeah. When you have, it's like growing up, you had John Thompson over at Georgetown, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he was the coach over at Georgetown, you knew that you sent your kid there, he was going to act right. He's going to straighten up. Allen Iverson is an example of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Coming straight out of prison and going into the college system and playing for John Thompson, you had to straighten up. So the whole point is where you go matters. So you have to keep that part. And that's what you said, recruiting process, right? That's that part of everything. Got to know.
And, it falls in line with everything else. For making a decision, like you said, there should be a 2-year commitment or a full, 2-season commitment.
Yes.
Because, just because you play football doesn't mean you need to attend for 2 full years, 2 full seasons, something like that. I agree with, because you've made the conscious decision what you want to do. When you get to the big leagues, like you say, you're the first rounder, you got 5 years. Okay? Any other round, you get what? 3, 4, I think.
I think it's 4 in the second round, 3 in the third.
Yeah, so you're committing to do that. You go to a job, you're committing to show up every day. You have to make these kinds of decisions, and that's one thing that going through these programs that the NFL has, I believe the MLB has it, MLS has it, is when you get in, you've got these programs that help you learn how to act right, how to use your money wisely, how to do this, how to portray yourself on the media. The reason they're doing that is because you are now an arm of them. You go out and do something stupid, you make them look stupid. You not only make yourself look down, you make the team look down, you make the program look down.
Yeah.
So now they've got all these different things to help you prevent, which helps in the maturity. The NIL in college doesn't really offer that. So now you've got these people that are getting these big contracts with God knows how many places are sponsoring them. I think I saw someone be sponsored by a drugstore.
And it's funny because my son is entering his senior year of high school, and I believe that we just sat down with the athletic director of the high school, and he was talking about the NCAA program. The NCAA night, if your kid is thinking about going to Division I or 2 or 3, that there's a night where they actually kind of do what is a orientation. And that's the type of thing, is trying to explain to them about social media, trying to explain to them about how you conduct yourselves and how you get all your ducks in a row as far as academics is concerned, and then just your character things that are actually out there publicly. So with that, they're doing that in high school. And I guess that's because
they're doing that a lot more over the last couple of years.
And
all these high school kids doing their
and you know what I think that comes with? That comes with that name, image, and likeness month. People are knowing that money's coming, because if you had a name coming out of high school and you got a check, that's cool. That high school still sitting there thinking about, I would like to have a Crawford Court. You know what I'm saying? There's those things that people are looking for those players to give back to the program that they came from. And you established your name here. Let's figure out how we can reap a little benefit off of it.
And then that's what a lot of colleges did for many years.
Yep.
Just took all that money. Yeah, we produced this.
But that's why the NIL money means something, because you didn't make it to that bowl because the coach called the greatest plays. You made it to that bowl because that player on the field that's selling that jersey is the one making that play.
I totally agree with that. It is your development that definitely got you there. You do deserve money.
Yeah.
I have no doubt about it. I just think there needs to be restrictions and changes and modifications to make it more. I'm not making big league money to play in college.
When you hear Flage and Asia Wilson and them cats down there at LSU talking about, man, go to the WNBA for what? I make too much money here.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Are you serious? I mean, and so yeah.
I don't blame them for the WNBA.
Yeah,
Well, but listen, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But the system is broken and out of whack. And when we look at it across the board, the system is broken out of whack, even for the professional athletes.
It is.
Can you imagine $60 million for the next quarterback contract to actually hit per season? That's going to be crazy. Can you imagine one that hit $75 million? Even though that the salary cap keeps going up, cats is going to keep getting paid because the quarterback is the feature of the whole program. So,
Nice.
and that's with sports money. Sports money is like monopoly money, right? So whether it's in college, and I want to say high school because we remember hearing some guys riding around with diamonds and Hummers in high school. So there is money in all the aspects of football and basketball and every other sport. So
There is.
yeah.
There just needs to be restrictions on it.
You got to. It's the Wild West right now.
Since we're talking about player development and helping them out, this is one question I want to see. If nobody really knows, I'll consider myself. I just have his name. Oh my goodness.
Right out there.
The wide receiver cornerback.
Wide receiver quarterback. You're talking about Travis? Travis?
Yeah, Travis.
Travis him?
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter. There we go.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter. Is he going to play quarterback or wide receiver? Because he plays ball. Now, is he going to be that one? Well, he hasn't done it. That's going to float on both sides of the ball. Because he's a number one quarterback and he's a number one wide receiver. Which one is he going to play?
He can't play both.
Go ahead.
He can't play both.
Which one is he going to pick?
It's probably going to end up. I would imagine that he's a better defender than a receiver. But the money, they paying the money to the receivers right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just talking about that $60 million quarterback and that $75 million quarterback. The receivers is making 35 now.
Yeah.
40.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So which one do you want to play? When the quarter makes 22 and the middle, or let's say the top three tiers making anywhere about 30 to 40 million coming in the next couple of years. Where do you want to play? I don't have to be the best. The best is getting 25 at quarter. The middle tier of the top tier is getting about 35.
Okay.
I'm right there with you. I think you go with wide receiver, and then in certain situations, they'll come out of the form.
And I think there's going to be.
That's exactly what I would do too. I would take wide receiver. Perfect. I'd rather be the guy catching the ball and running down the field than hitting him. But
So there's going to be an incentive in his contract.
right?
There's going to be some money. There's got to be more money somewhere.
Way I play the corner, I get
an extra
$1 million.
Hey, yeah. We're going to have to put that in there somehow. I figure how we don't circumvent the salary cap.
Right. Okay, so we're split on that. So, now is the hype warranted for Colorado? Because they're hyped.
Yeah,
And they didn't look too right. They got and they didn't look too good last week.
It's fine.
You know what I'm saying? Against a second or third class opponent.
That's fine.
You know what I'm saying? Number one offensive lineman coming in, the offensive line was restructured. Running Lawrence Tap,
Come on.
supposed to be dogs in that quarterback. Had about 100,000 people.
But you have to look at it though. Came in last year.
Yeah.
Knocked off that championship team.
That team was 1,000 times better than they have been in the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got a second year. What happens with every major rebuild of any team, professional or college? You go through your time and you have your growing.
Yep.
It's only year two.
Yep.
I guarantee you within the next 5 years, they are a national rated #1 contender team consistently. Within 5 years, they're going to be up there. Because he's going to develop talent. He's going to continue to develop those talents. They're going to go, he's going to bring in more talent and develop them. And everybody's going to see how the system was built.
Yeah.
And they're going to want to play for him. And the people that want to play for him will develop their talent even more because they want to play for him.
Right.
But that's it. And you know, and that's what we're talking about. I was talking about that name, image, likeness, about them jersey sales. I said Bobby Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said,
Bobby Knight.
we coming to play for Dion. Okay?
Yep.
This is who the guy is. Dion is going to get a guy. He's the one that sells the program. He's the dude that gets some of the highest clips on Facebook and Reels and Instagram and everywhere because of some of the things he says in the quotations. You know, what he did with Jackson State. When he came in, he took an HBCU program and turned it into a national phenomenon that they had never heard what the SWAC program was down in Jackson. Yeah. So you look at Dion brings the hype anyway. That's just who he is.
And that's what's bringing people to Colorado.
He's a salesman.
He is, but he's effective.
Come on.
And he doesn't tell you what's there.
No.
He's going to literally tell you what he's going to do, and then he doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
And that's exactly what's going to happen in Colorado. Watch. They will grow. They will consistently get better and better. And within 5 years, they will be up there where they're consistently pushing the national side.
But you know why? You know why that is.
Because that's a big one for Dion.
Why? Because Dion is going to look at you and tell you, say, "Oh, buddy, you can't play for us."
Right.
That's how we got rid of half the program, just so we can start bringing them kids in.
Right.
Exactly.
You know?
And they'll tell you to your face.
Yeah.
You are not my kind of player. You've got the wrong attitude. You've got the wrong mindset. You've got this. You've got that. They'll tell you. Yeah. Now, if you go out and the next year you change everything and decide to change your way, he might look at you again.
Yeah. But that's
You're going to have to make that change yourself.
But that also goes back to that which I was talking about earlier, that cowboy culture. What is that issue? That cowboy culture. He knows how to work within the program and build culture. He's been in a place where culture, people were wearing paper bags over their heads in Atlanta before he got there, right? Then he went to one of the most hypest places in the world down there in Dallas, like y'all talked about, right? He knows how to build culture. And like you said, it's going to take time. Give him a couple years if he don't leave. Don't start falling.
That's the problem with Dallas.
Yeah.
They do have the culture.
Yeah.
But nobody's going to be able to outlast the culture.
No.
That,
Remember,
they develop themselves and make a name in the neighborhood because the culture is there, it's just not works properly.
you remember what the culture was? It was Michael Irvin works harder than everybody else with a plate of cocaine and a bowl of weed on the table.
Hey,
Allegedly.
Oh my God.
Allegedly. I mean, but
it's always allegedly.
hey, but that's the, you say, okay, you can go to Dallas and just about do anything. There's no restrictions on it. Just pay me the money. As long as I perform, we'll get the money. Well, the guys have great stats. They just don't win games. They don't win the important games. Put it that way.
Yeah, and they need to win the important ones.
And that's why Jerry's always going to have a dilemma trying to figure out how do we get over enough. Because we've invested in the CD Lambs. We probably going to re-up on Dak, right?
Oh, there's no doubt.
So don't forget, and we're in the Pacific Northwest. I want to make sure that we get this historical factor right. The reason why Jack took over for Tony was because Cliff Averill broke him in half. And that was the end of Tony Romo's career. So just remember, it was Seattle that brought Dak into the game.
Well, yeah. But once he got the Kings, he didn't.
He was bad. He was bad, but he had it. Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
So I'm going to back there a little bit.
Go ahead. Oh, man.
We're good. So let's talk about the Huskies for a moment. It is Saturday. I think they play tonight, 7:30.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So last year, I was on the surface watching it about, okay, they're 3-0, 4-0, 5-0. And I'm like, this is okay, it's gonna come down to earth, right? They didn't last it all season. They play Michigan. And I don't want to be trying to overspill milk, but I felt in that game, watching that game, yes, Michigan's defense was tough. But I saw so many opportunities that the refs allow certain play towards Washington. I felt the same way watching Pittsburgh Steelers in the Seahawks game in that Super Bowl. I felt the same.
Oh, you mean where Roethlisberger didn't actually cross the goal line?
That's just
You're going to replay review show it.
Or the Matt Hasselbeck clip.
yeah, you can't help it. It's a favoritism on the field, and it happens sometimes.
Sometimes. Well, and I think out of every sport, every ref, every umpire for baseball,
It's a favoritism too.
there is a favorite.
Yeah.
That's why the staffs go together. So if you're an NFL referee, okay, you're on a crew.
Yeah.
If you work together all season,
Yeah.
you're not each working.
Yeah.
You're not specifically for this team. You don't only do these whole games.
Absolutely.
That's one good thing special forces done with their fishing.
Right.
Is they make these crews and they travel around.
Right.
So they do that to create less of a opportunity to show their thing. Yeah, they will still be turning to
Right.
then you see it in the WNBA, you see the NBA, the NFL, MLS, MLB, all of it.
Yeah.
There's always that one umpire or a referee that you can just tell this team is going to
Yes.
But I think when we start talking about when they start putting expectations and rates and ratings on it, and then there's a prediction of who's going to win. We say Michigan's going to win it all since halfway through the season. Now that referee crew comes in and says, well, they shouldn't be Washington. It shouldn't be an issue. But beyond that, I'll try to be that dude that sounds like we crying over spilled milk, right? But at the same time, we got out physical by Michigan. That secondary is a little bit more physical than what they had to deal with before. And I mean, but you look at Washington. Washington been running track meets all year long. It was funny. I was sitting in Nashville, Tennessee, the year before last, watching with my father, just watching the Husky, the UW Oregon game, right, that night. And I watched that game, and it came down to stand the ball last. And I felt like going into the Michigan game, it was going to be the same thing. And then I seen Michigan's defense. And I seen how they decided they was going to come down here and punch us in the mouth.
Well, they say they don't win the football.
Well, defense wins the championships.
That's funny. The physicality I thought was past 5 yards. The physicality from the corner. See, that's where the physicality really was, the receivers versus cornerbacks, and that got a little too dicey. Like it was some obvious pass interference. Obvious.
You telling me that they were playing the Big Ten team?
Man. Yeah,
you know the rule.
Yeah,
you know the rule. Do you know the rule with Big Ten?
What's the rule?
Big Ten basketball. This has always been the rule. I told you guys that when we were kids. No blood, no foul. That is Big Ten basketball. That's Big Ten football. That's the way it's going to work.
Now, this is a perfect argument when you're talking about playing against the different conference, different rules. That's the same argument we use for NBA basketball.
Errors and generation.
Errors.
Yes, sir.
Right? Protect the Pistons And
The Knicks.
the Bad Boy Pistons.
Yep.
You put the Bad Boy Pistons against the now Golden State.
Any team.
Golden State.
Any team.
Who wins that game? Who wins that series?
The Pistons.
But it doesn't matter what schools.
It do matter which rules. It do matter which rules.
Because 90 rules.
We go back to 90 rules.
Can't touch them.
When you go back to 90 rules, you go back to 90 rules, your biggest superstar, I mean, it's just the average player.
No, that's for the rules now.
Yeah.
2024.
No, them rules.
2024. Golden State win.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget. Oh, yeah. So, okay. Remember, there was hand checking back in the day. There was hand checking. You had Michael Jordan played against a cat named Anthony Mason. 6'7", 280 pounds, and Anthony said, "Here you go, there you go." There's no hand check. When they took hand checking off the game, that changed everything. The rules changed everything. These guys could not play in a 90s world. These guys could not play in a 90s world. When you came down the lane and Bill Laimbeer put that forearm into your neck, and you had to get up because there was no whistle.
Robin and elbow checking.
I said, Rick Mahorn? I mean, come on, man. When you talking about them old bad boys, shoot. The last Detroit team had a little bit of that in them. When it was Ben Wallace and them guys, they had a bit of that bad boys in them. That's why the Lakers couldn't win with 4 Hall of Famers on the team. Kobe, Payton, Shaq, Malone. They couldn't beat that team. And the reason why they couldn't beat that team was because that team still understood that what I see now, it started, we used to talk about back in the day, it's Carmelo Anthony. They called him the black hole. You throw the ball in, it's not coming back out. It's not coming back out. Right? So when we look at the situation,
I'm scoring.
You got a bunch of players that want to go one-on-one in ISO situations constantly. Take those players and line them up against a team that actually is a team. And we're going to play man-to-man defense. We're going to press. We're going to trap. I don't see any of that. Even though the zone is in effect now, the Sonics used to play zone when there was no zone. And we used to say, oh, but there's a defensive technical foul because they're playing zone. Okay, fine. But now they have an opportunity to play zone. These cats don't even know how to play it because they don't even have the fundamentals of defense down. Well, and watch this. The best defensive players are usually out of the league in 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. I want to throw out the expand or world with Mariners or Seahawks?
Seahawks.
Yeah.
Seahawks?
Oh yeah. So
I know.
there's the game.
Oh, we got a disagreement here.
Okay. The last game, the Seahawks didn't sell out.
Reese said the Seahawks fans have more to celebrate. What is interesting, back in the day, I used to mark 10 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, but they always filled up Safeco.
Yeah.
I mean, with less than 500 records, they would always fill up Safeco. Now, once you made it to that playoff game, now we're expecting more. And we just went to the Mariners game earlier this year. And earlier this year, we sat up here in the, well, you know, hey, the season lasts 7 months. I mean,
I know.
like, come on, man. It's a marathon. It's a marathon. Football's a sprint, baseball's a marathon. And so,
Coming in marathon. Look at how long they're keeping.
but we're sitting at 300 level at the Mariners game. They were like, "Oh yeah, you're right. You're right." We looked down and was like, "Oh, there's tons of seats in the 100 level, and nobody stopped us from coming down to the 100 level set."
Nope, haven't done that since before COVID.
And I couldn't remember before COVID. I couldn't remember a time that the Mariners had that many open seats.
Yeah, it is definitely dwindled down lately. A lot of full season things never don't even go to the games. They just sit there.
That's all they tickets.
Hold their tickets because they want that recognition after 25 years.
But But you know why that is, though.
Yeah.
You know why that is. As long as this organization is selling tickets and there's people in their stands, they have no incentive to try to go out and win. They don't make those deals at the deadline that they need to. They did it this year, but
I think the only did that.
he's looking to try to save his job. That's what that is.
He did very
And he just got it. I know he just got an extension. What are we talking about?
sort of manager victory.
Yeah, I remember some story that I used to bars and being bars and having control of TV was a huge thing back then.
Yeah.
And this is back when the Sonics were in the finals. I think it was game 7 of that championship game against Utah.
Mm.
And they won to go on to play the Bulls. And I remember that game going off. And I remember Mariners fans coming in. I want to watch the spring ball and demanding that I change the TV.
Yeah.
That's much harder than TV now.
Yeah, but they would rather watch. And it's just the call. I would say when I talk about loyalty, right? We all got all definitions of loyalty. It's loyalty, but a person being critical of their team doesn't mean that they're not loyal. They're just frustrated.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
someone being critical of our team is probably
Yeah.
Right, just being honest.
yes, yeah.
Well,
Your team did it's better than what they're producing.
I always felt that Mariners fans were more faithful than Seahawks fans because the Seahawks fans have a lot of bandwagon fans that really jumped on board during the LOB era.
12.
You know what I'm saying? And then, hey, well, yeah. But them same fans jumped off. Once it tanked, especially after
After they're starting to fall apart.
well, it started the first one that passed across the middle. You know what I'm saying? That gives me nightmares to this day.
Oh, my goodness.
You know what I'm saying? Which
49.
Yeah, but that brings me back to my next point. I know we're doing a whole lot of backlog, but we'll push forward more top of the season. But I believe that was the beginning of Pete Carroll's last days.
I can tell you.
No, it happened right then. That pass. And that culture,
that was the peak of his career, but I don't think that's exactly where it started.
I think it started. Well, it was because, listen, if they win that game, think about what changes. If he wins that game, the Seahawks team is considered one of the greatest of all time.
Dynasty.
It's considered the best. In a salary cap era, back to back, you're one of the greatest of all time. Now, since they lost that game, then I have to mention it now.
And them dudes wasn't going nowhere as long as they was winning.
Right.
You didn't have to worry about Sherm wanting to leave. You didn't have to worry about nobody wanting to leave. They wanted to stay. But I can tell you where it ended. I can tell you where Pete Carroll's career ended.
Well,
And it was one interview.
Uh-oh.
It was the conversation about DK Metcalf, and they were talking about Ford. How many penalties DK had, and DK said, "I don't care about that, boy." Pete says they asked him a question. They said, "Does he have control over this team?" The answer that he gave was, "I don't know. You got to ask them." That was the end of Pete Carroll from that point on. When Pete said it was on the players now, that's new. I've never heard that from Pete. And when you have, what did the UW Huskies get in trouble? What was the reason why they went on probation and they had to get a death sentence? You remember? Lack of institutional control. Pete said he didn't have control over the team on this.
Wow.
That was it.
Yeah, he refused people.
Yeah.
Yeah. What they cared about and what they again, it all goes back to the same thing. Culture. When you start changing or allowing things to happen within your culture that you do not correct and you do not fix, that's the reason why McDonald's came in and took down all those pictures.
Yeah.
We're going to reestablish this culture, and it's going to be mine, and everybody's going to be accountable. A lot of people were getting away without being accountable at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you saw that. And Mike McDonald invested here on stage. He looks like he's in charge.
Love pizza. Love pizza.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Love
And
pizza.
it originally did.
Yeah, love pizza.
And originally did.
I think it's time to move on.
Yeah.
See it.
And like I said, it's nothing against He's going to be phenomenal folks. Great guy. But if the system became too black and people didn't know how to bring this fire back,
Yeah.
He could not.
you had to light that fire. You showed that all the pictures. Look what happened. Everybody had something to say.
And now they hit in practice. Something they ain't done in about 10 years. In a Seahawk practice.
Yeah, they're playing 75%.
You remember what it was when we was coaching Little League?
What?
It was play to the third.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Pete Carroll played less than to the third. The practice was still less than the third because he got in trouble with the league.
Yeah, I remember.
Then you bring McDonald in, we're playing to the ground.
Yeah.
The third is not there. We're going past the third.
Playing football.
Yeah, we're playing football.
Playing roles. You just said. Well, I think our time is up. Keep running now. Thank you guys for joining us today for Northwest Sports Talk206. Scott Prim came on board today. Thank you guys for coming on. And like I said, every Saturday we'll be here at 12:30 at the Waterland Arcade in Des Moines, providing barbecue outside. LNSO from barbecue, rib tips, shrimp and grits, the works. So, hey, I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thank y'all for coming on. Thank you.
Look. I'm trying to see her. It's been on my calendar to come see you this whole time down here. And I said, I see my man, and he gives this take that was crazy. It's just the jersey. It's all the same.
It is.
You right here, live streaming?
That's when you write a specific number. But a lot of people